chapter 10, The Idols of Sickness. In the Blue Book, that's on page 181. That's the FIP version. If you're in the original edition, it would be chapter 9, section 8, entitled The Inclusiveness of Creation. And in the new CE version, it is chapter 10, The Religion of the Ego, and section 1, Waking to the Eternal. So we're going to start in the introduction of chapter 10 in the FIP, and we'll remind us of our reality before he starts talking about sickness. Nothing beyond yourself can make you fearful or loving, because nothing is beyond you. So there's a definitive statement. How can something beyond yourself be cause of your fear or your loveliness or loving when there's nothing beyond you? Time and eternity are both in your mind and will conflict until you perceive time solely as a means to regain eternity. We know that if you think there's something outside of you, other than you, then it must be a belief. And we know that all beliefs are rooted in time. So we have to take this to the root. So Jesus says, we're going to go to the root. We're going to take your idea of time. We're going to reinterpret it and use it as a means to an end. The end being your recognition of the awareness of eternity. And so time becomes a calm, singular, holy instant that no longer matters. The time clock stops, and you begin to remember your eternal state, which is changeless, with nothing outside of you. You cannot do this as long as you believe that anything happening to you is caused by factors outside yourself. This is a process, obviously, and it is very, what did Einstein say? The universe is not real, but it's very persistent. There's a persistence of belief that something's happening to you outside of your control, that you are a victim, or you're just part of fate or chance or luck, or God's doing something to you. All these ideas have to be released from your mind. You must learn that time is solely at your disposal and that nothing in the world can take this responsibility from you. Time is at your disposal. In other words, how time is used, what is happening in time, is totally your responsibility. Yours, you. And no one can take this from you. You're doing this, we're doing it to ourselves. If we think we're a victim, we're doing it to ourselves. You can violate God's laws in your imagination, but you cannot escape from them. They were established for your protection and are as inviolate as your safety. So what do we do with God's laws? God's laws are inviolate because those laws were put into effect through your creation. Your creation is permanent. It is changeless. It is eternal. You always have been and you always will be, because you've always been in the mind of God, who is eternal. They cannot be changed because there's no shadow of turning within the mind of God. God does not have the ability to change His will, and you are His will. So what we have to do is we have to dream. We have to sleep. We have to imagine. What is imagining? Imagining is making images that appear to violate the laws of God. That's all they can do, is be an appearance of a violation. Think of it this way. Safety is a big issue in automobiles, right? Do you ever wonder why we have, I don't know too many places where the speed limit is above 70 in the United States, and yet we have cars that'll go 200 miles an hour and have 200 mile an hour speedometers. Why? What is the purpose? We always talk about purpose and function. What does it mean? Well, if I see a car's got a 200 on my speedometer, it must mean this sucker will go 200 and I should get it up to 200. The law says it's 70, but your imagination says it can go to 200. So we set up a situation that is outside the safety of God's law. And I know all of these analogies break down at some point, but if you have a better one, let me know. All right, God created nothing beside you, and nothing beside you exists, for you are part of Him. If you are the creation of God, then all there is the Father and you. That's it. Because in the Father is everything, all the thoughts of God. He established creation. Spirit was and has been created. That is the mind of God. So from your perspective, all there is you and Him. And that's all there will ever be is you and Him. All of the sons are within the Father. So you get to commune with all of the sons of God because they are in the Father. The Father is not a father without a son. All of your creations are within you. So it's still just you and the Father. But your creations and you are in the Father. Therefore, all of the sons and all of the Son's creations are really co-creating together and get to commune and communicate in knowledge of one another. In wholeness, with one purpose and one function. What is that function? It is creation because it was created to create. One of the things you have to get your mind around, to remember, is that although the kingdom is increasing, that doesn't mean it was lacking to start with, because the kingdom is the idea of increase. The idea of you creating or having more, extending, increasing, more. Of course, if I'm creating, there's more. There are more sons. But that doesn't mean that there were less before or that there was a lack. Lynn had put up a verse that says, just as God's Son completes His Father, so your part in it completes your Father's plan. Okay, that word complete. Your completing the Father doesn't mean anything was incomplete before you completed it, because Father is the idea of completion. A father-son is the idea of completion. So it doesn't mean anything was incomplete. And that's how we continue to create. Because it's not that something's lacking. It's that that's what it was created to do. That is what it is. That's what life is. In the heavenly mindset and knowledge, life is creation. And it's in the oneness of the relationship of cause and effect. What except Him can exist? Nothing. Beyond Him can happen, because nothing except Him is real. Your creations add to Him as you do, but nothing is added that is different, because everything has always been. Okay? It's just an extension of everything that has always been. Spirit has already been created. Mind is the activating agent of spirit. It was created to create. What can upset you except the ephemeral? And how can the ephemeral be real if you are God's only creation and He created you eternal? So ephemeral means short-lived. Why are you upset? Because you're believing in something that has a beginning and an end, whereas creation in reality has no beginning and has no end. So if you've lost peace, that's the reason. You're believing that there could be something that is short-lived, and you are believing that something can be there and then be lost. Something can be given and taken back, but it's not true. It's just an imagination. It's just an appearance. Your holy mind establishes everything that happens to you. Every response you make to everything you perceive is up to you, because your mind determines your perception of it. You have your mind and you have your holy mind. Holy mind establishes everything that happens to you, which means what? What was the word he used before? This is at your disposal. This is your responsibility. If you're making instead of creating, it's your responsibility. But if you're creating, it's still your responsibility. But your mind establishes that which is happening to you. It determines your perception. Perception is but a tool for the mind which has made the determination. Remember, desire comes first, wish comes first, intention, valuation comes first, then comes the projection, and then the perception. That's why we made perception, so we could imagine something other than reality. God does not change His mind about you, for He is not uncertain of Himself. And what He knows can be known, because He does not know it only for Himself. He created you for Himself, but He gave you the power to create for yourself, so you would be like Him. In other words, He gave you fatherhood, the power to create. This is a shared idea. It must share, it must extend. It is love. Love must share and love must extend. Giving and receiving with increase and gratitude and joyfulness. Why joyfulness? Because you are creating and you're giving and you're loving. That's why miracles remind you of your true function. That's why forgiveness reminds you of your true function. That is why your mind is holy. Whenever you see the word holy, H-O-L-Y, remember the word holy, W-H-O-L-L-Y, because they're really the same. Can anything exceed the love of God? Can anything then exceed your will? Nothing can reach you from beyond it, because being in God, you encompass everything. So what is he saying there? When you were created as an extension of first cause, you became everything. Why? Because love must give everything. It cannot withhold. You are the universe. When you create your creations, they are the universe. There's nothing outside of them. And you give them fatherhood so that they can, how does he put it here? Create for yourself. Create for himself. Why? Because that's what your joy is. Your joy and your happiness is in your function, and you were created to be happy. So there is nothing beyond that. If you're everything, if you believe there's something beyond you, it has to be what? Nothing. Nothingness. And you're believing in nothingness and using the power of mind to give it reality, to give it a spurious cause and effect, when it is nothing and it can have no cause and it can have no effect. Believe this, and you will realize how much is up to you. How much is up to you? Everything's up to you, because you are everything. You encompass everything. This is your kingdom. But it is the understanding of cause and effect, of Father, Son, that allows you to understand what that everything is. When anything threatens your peace of mind, ask yourself, has God changed his mind about me? In other words, if I'm the everything and I'm the universe, has God changed his mind about the universe? The answer is no. Then accept his decision, for it is indeed changeless, and refuse to change your mind about yourself. God will never decide against you, or he would be deciding against himself. And I got news for you. God is not going to commit suicide. Without you, he does not exist. A father is a father by his son. The cause is a cause because of its effect.